So today
But
I'm
I'm
back
saying you
and with a new video which is about the SBL pre-seed material. Sorry about that. So it's just first of all I would like to say you guys that SBL is not some normal exam where you just learn the theory, you apply it, you practice some questions, you write about it. That's all. No, it is properly like you're a strategy consultant. You know everything about what is happening in the industry. For example, if it's a charity question, you know what is happening in a charity, what happens in this industry, how does it work, how are your competitors performing, how are you you're very experienced with strategy development and proper macro micro analysis. You see clearly it's not a conventional examination. You should not only be aware of your textbook topics about normal topics about maybe let's say audit committees, number of NEDs, uh, or what we say the Porter's five force model or the PESTEL. It's not about testing about these things. These are basic things which will help you to answer your question, cater to answering to your question. But your answer is basically about your awareness, commercial acumen. How much do you know as a strategy consultant or as someone in this industry? How much do you know what would basic common sense basically? When I went for the exam, I just went with basic common sense. Okay, I knew the topics, I had prepared for them and all that, but the way I used to practice is understand the environment, look into the news. I didn't have this pre-seen material for the first time. Like for the first time it has been introduced, and in all these years, but I didn't have this thing at all. Like I had to go write the 4 hours exam and just come back. But you guys are at an advantage because this can help you to focus on the charity sector, to understand about how this works, what are the possible strategies, what have been the failures in this industry, look into the news articles, understand what went wrong, and that will cater to answering your question, man. For example, if there's some threat coming up, or if there's a weakness of the charity which you can identify from the exhibit, from the question, from whatever is being asked, you can identify that and pose a strategy for that based on what you learn from the news and all. That's why they are saying that you need to be very active in the news and be very vigilant about that. That's commercial acumen, that's your professional skill. So you not only develop professional skill for your exam, but also generally in life, why it is important to be very vigilant enough to know about the news is what SBL teaches you. So SBL is not just you going and writing the 3 hours exam. It is of you knowing about the industry and the trends, about not just one industry, various industries. This is like teaching you to do that. So this is what I understood about SBL. And the more important, this is very important that you understand this aspect of SBL. Like you go by heart some things, you go by heart some models. No, sometimes it can be that you don't know any of the models and you still end up getting the marks. Right, you still know that okay, this approach is correct, this is what I have read in the news, and this is what had happened, that business had applied that strategy, and I think this is what is relevant for the scenario based on what I read in the pre-scene material, based on what I read in the exhibit. So that's all about it, guys. This is something, the more faster you understand this, the more better it is for you. Or you go sit, learn the textbook material, and just go ahead, whatever it is your choice. So let's get started with historical places. It's a charity. I'm talking about charity since this long, so of course it's about that. And it is in the country Asia. It aims to preserve historical sites in Asia. Okay, let's know if they are covering more aspects specifically to Asia. They're covering about its capital, or they're just mentioning the country name. Maybe in the exhibit they'll do that. Exhibit is what the information. This is just the pre-scene material. The exhibits are actual going to be very elaborative, and you need to spend a lot of time there. But as you and there also I'll give you one strategy. As you go read, you start making the plan, you start jotting down your notes. Actually, once you're done with the piecing material itself, you can start planning. Okay, what all scenarios will be there. Okay, this might be there, this might be there, this might be there, and that's what I'm going to help you with today. But at the same time, now that you've jotted the plan, you know what your plan is. You can add up to that plan based on whatever you read in the exhibit in the exam. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm telling you take the paper, write down all the points you got from the pre and take that. That's not allowed. Neither you're allowed to take the pre-scene material and print. And I mean, why would you do that? You have got this like 2 weeks before the exam. Why won't you read it properly? You have got a chance to almost it's a big chance. A lot of time will be saved during the planning phase of your exhibit, which was not there in our times. So understand it, guys. Utilize it seriously. So charities, charitable organizations promote the welfare of the society, public interest. They carry out many different activities, including helping the sick and disabled, providing poverty relief and education, preserving history, and campaigning on issues affecting society. Charities raise funds through various methods, donations by those who support their work, and commercial activities. The charitable sector uh, include large national charities and smaller charities which operate on a single site. So this is about sectoral information, and they might give some more information later or in the exhibit what you're going to get in the exam. Okay, so this will help you understand about some macro analysis, to for your PESTEL analysis, whatever you will use. Okay, now charities in Asia are often set up as companies limited by guarantee. Okay, now you don't get confused and you don't be like, okay, this is a company, that's it. No, companies limited by guarantee, and a company limited by guarantee does not have any shares or shareholders. First point, not a company. So it is underwritten by guarantors who guarantee to pay a specified amount of money to help settle its debts only in the event of insolvency. Okay, so that will help the charity to keep running, right? Of course, you need some guarantee, you need some backing for it to, stay. Okay, it's not like, for example, you have got equity shareholders, they'll invest in you, and even during liquidation they won't, if they don't even get their money back, it's okay. You need someone like that, right? And that's what guarantors do. But that doesn't mean it's a company or it has got those tax things and all. It's got those exemptions which every charity has got. Now surpluses are not distributed to guarantors but invested in the charity to help promote to its charitable objectives. And okay. Now that means that that's what I'm trying to say. Guarantees are not shareholders. We're not going to distribute dividends or something to them. Surpluses are for charity purpose, and this is what is making charity organization different from a normal company. Right? We go, we do everything for the shareholders. They are we maximize their wealth. We try to give them dividends, or they don't want dividends. We try to invest for them, get positive returns, invest in positive NPV projects, and so on. But this is not the case in the charity. So please, this is helping you to distinguish between what is a charity, what is a company limited by guarantee, and what is a company in, limited by liability or partnership or whatever it is like. So charities activities are determined by their governing document in the constitution. Okay, this is take a note of this. Okay, highlight it to whatever you want, and I'll just take a highlighter. No, this one is a highlighter. Yeah. Yeah. Now, many charities raise funds by means of surpluses from commercial activities. For example, running shops. Commercial activities are carried out through subsidiary companies, which charities wholly own. Okay. So now you don't get confused. Okay. Now, charity is a parent company. What is this? It's still a charity. Don't get confused. It's having some subsidiary companies, maybe it bought it, whatever surplus funds they got, they managed to buy it and whatever they to make the transaction, but still it's a charity. It will have those exemptions which charities have. That's it. So now they have got shops, okay, running shops. That means there is some but this is about the many charities out there, not specifically about the charity in the question, historical places. Now, charities in Asia are regulated by the Charity Supervisory Board and established by Odisha central government. Okay, so there's this board, and for example, we have Companies Act and all that, which is made by the government. Here, Charity Supervisory Board is the one responsible for such kind of acts or something, or we have some, Central Bank of India, which regulates the banks. Here for charities, it's like Charity Supervisory Board and stuff like that. So the CSB aims to ensure the general public can be confident that donations to charities will be used for proper charitable purposes. The CSB investigates allegations that charities are not acting in accordance with their charitable objectives, are behaving unethically, are misusing funds, or otherwise breaching regulations. So, this is going to be used in the event if there is some problem with historical places, the charity in the question. So, for example, if they are making a mistake, they are breaching some law, health and safety, anything that they are doing wrong, or even employee related, what we say, humanitarian or whatever, charity supervisory board will catch them in the future. This is there. This point can be used there. So you need to be skeptical about this. You need to think about this. You need to have this point in the background. So CSB is point two that needs to be in the background. The content of charities accounts is governed by a statement of recommended practice published by the CSB. CSB requires all charity accounts to be audited. Okay, so audited financial statements. And larger charities whose annual income exceeds 10 million need to report and on internal control and risk management systems, with the report being reviewed by the charity's external auditors. So that means they have external auditors. They have got internal controls. Okay, actually, in charities, I would say internal controls are important because risk of theft is high there, and you have got assets and all that. But some employees are not there, or there's no segregation of duties, which we have learned in the audit. All these things are not there, so it's very loose. The structure is very loose there, and there's high chance of theft. Some volunteer will come up in the future, and he might end up taking up the cash if it's not safely locked, or surpluses if they're not managed properly, or if there's no segregation of duties, they might end up inflating their own salaries, and then stuff like, if they are salaried, there can be some salaried employees also there. I'm not saying they're supposed to charge huge salaries, but maybe there might be some, to retain them for long term. Maybe they're very skilled enough or something. So there's very loose internal control structure always, and it's very important to have there. So at every company, it is very important, but specifically in those where this is a structure, charity, there it is very important. So that's why it is good that it's being audited. But anyways, my point is that you will again identify this point, recognize this point, use it in the answer in case if there's any breach of internal control, or if there's anything that you can say external auditors will catch up, will point this out, they'll be skeptical about this, they'll consider more substantial procedures in case if something goes wrong and something like that. Now, charities and commercial societies wholly owned by charities are now subject to taxation in Odisha. Okay. And see, this is not subject to taxation. What makes it different from a normal company? So, that's that. Uh, so I'll just take a note. I'll just highlight it and keep to, external auditors, internal control. These keywords should be there to be audited. Charity requires all accounts to be audited. See, it's a normal discussion. I'm not making it proper PPTs and all what other tutors have done. I want to discuss it out with you guys and help you out with answering the question. And side by side, I'm also telling you various topics. So this is a threat, and again, it can be used in the SWOT and PESTEL and all that, whatever. What is a legal structure like, a legal environment like, what is a in case of breach, what will happen, and you can even cover in SWOT weaknesses, threats, and whatever. In case if there is a threat here in the question, I'm not saying it's definitely going to be there, but based on my experience, maybe it can be. Then only they are mentioning so much about it. Like, you should think that way. So many charities in Indonesia exist for the purpose of preserving the country's heritage at urban and rural sites. Heritage means things of historical or cultural values which are worthy of preservation. So this is what usually the charities in this country are involved with. Okay, so charities in the heritage subsector conserve and maintain historical sites, including buildings and museums and objects kept at those sites. They generally allow public admission to the sites which they maintain, so they are responsible for the maintenance. So this can be in the costs also and all that. Okay, so that's also one thing you can consider. This is what their business nature is like. Heritage charities aim to bring history to life for visitors. They seek to encourage public appreciation of and participation in heritage. This includes encouraging members of the public to visit sites and work for the charities as unpaid volunteers. So they are converting their customers, or we can say the people who are visiting them, to volunteers who are unpaid, right? So what can we say about this? This is the, what we say, the human capital. And I am recognizing integrated reporting. What is this? There's this six capitals out there, and this is how they're getting the human capital. Or I can even consider this in the strategy, social capital, how they're converting their customers into this. Or maybe something in the future, what will come up in the exhibit, how are we ensuring these volunteers are converted, and what are we doing to retain them, how are we ensuring that they are converted, what services are we providing, quality of our services, and something like that. So it can be something surrounding this is what I can think of right now. But let's still consider, because that's how it is. This is the, yeah. And plus it's a stakeholder also, stakeholder management. This is what I was trying to recall. Stakeholder management is what is being covered here. So again, Mendelow's matrix and all, you might have heard how to, which stakeholders to prioritize and stuff. Now, heritage charities are also concerned with education. They host visits from groups of school children, students, and other stakeholders. Some establish formal links with schools and universities. Number of charities provide training and conservation and other activities. Okay, so clearly, if school children are there, these students, of course, you have to, like, you have to fulfill the objective of teaching them. You need to have proper staff for that purpose, who is skilled and who knows about the heritage and the history and all that. And also they should be ethical, and they should understand their children. You need to be more careful there. So there's so many points, man. And how am I saying this? Common sense. So the two largest heritage charities in Asia are historic places, which mainly looks after sites over 300 years old, and living the past, which mainly cares for sites which are less than 300 years old. Two main. So living the past is a competitor. Again, we can consider this the Porter's 5 force model, and or you can. I mean, I'm just telling you out models which can help you answer your question. I'm not saying you have to properly follow how what is the model like uh, substitute supplier substitutes, what we say customer substitute, threat of competitors. I'm not saying you have to follow all the points, only the relevant points, man. Your model is going to help you answer the question, not literally just go and use the entire model and that's it. You are like, okay, I'm happy, I use the entire points from the model and I'm going to get the full mark. No, if you're not relevant, if you have run away from the question, from answering the question, you have gone somewhere very far, that's it. Your points are, your marks are also gone very far along with that. So anyways, so this is a competitor that we can take a note of, and less than 300 years old. So I'm guessing that it's over 300 years old, so more maintenance, and you can understand about the cost structure more, and it's more accountability to the public because you are maintaining sites which are more than 300 years old. So you have to be more careful. I would not say, matlab, if, like even for living the past, it is like that, but this is something that you can think of. Now, heritage charities significant stakeholders, trustees, and individuals who oversee charities activities. They are responsible for ensuring that it acts in accordance with its charitable objectives and constitution and complies with regulations. So, should ensure that charities' risk management systems are effective and that the charity is managed with honesty and integrity. They deliver the charity strategy direction in conjunction with executive management. So, can we say that it's like NEDs, NEDs and executive directors making up the board and, helping out in making decisions and strategy directions and all that. So, I'm not going to say that NEDs are supposed to be there, but these are someone who will oversee the activities, who will help take major decisions, and even about the day to day, about the long term strategy and whatever it is. And they are accountable for charities activities and the charity supporters, the charity supervisory board, and the general public. So you can understand they're very important, just like NEDs in a company. So and secondly, we can say they should ensure charity. Yeah. So basically, they're accountable, right? They're accountable to the public and all these parties. And again, I won't say they are. These are stakeholders. Again, these are also stakeholders that that have to be handled. Like stakeholders are not just external; they're internal also. Okay, so how to maintain them in the organization, how to keep them up, what should we do, what strategies to do to retain them. That's also one thing. Like they are quite responsible, so maybe it's written that they're not paid for their time and receive no employment benefits. So maybe we need to reconsider that, or maybe we need to research how does it happen in the charity sector. But it should not be like, there are some past cases where they have taken millions out and just written and showcased that in the financial statements like some random thing. For example, some charity purpose thing. No, that's called manipulation of financial statements. So remember that, guys. Next is executive management. Executive managers are employees responsible for day-to-day operations. They normally meet regularly as an executive board of committee. Day-to-day operations, you already know, CEO is usually leading them and something like that, but it's not mentioned here. But I'm just giving general info. Then other paid employees. Paid employees include head office administration staff and staff working full or part time at the sites. Okay, paid employees, head office administration staff. Okay, so we have to look into their figures also. Maybe some figures will be given. How much are they paid for part time, for full time? What is the difference paid in both? And what are their activities? Their responsibilities are not given here. What exactly are they doing? And what if they're charging a lot, to be retained in the organization? What are their activities in short? Maybe that will be covered in the exhibit. Next, volunteers to carry out unpaid work at charity site in their spare time. They have no contractual obligation to keep volunteering. So while that is a good thing because there's no charge, the bad thing is that they can leave anytime, right? And maybe something will be covered about that. Or if something is not covered, also it can be a threat. You can use in PESTEL, SWOT analysis, whatever it is. So let's just consider that as well. and volunteers. And then donors give monies to charities without expecting anything in return. Monies are like some, maybe some goods, some valuable goods or something, and without expecting anything. And donors may give a one-off or on a regular basis. Sometimes gifts are given, just like that. We think, okay, they are handling charities, they are handling sites more than 3 years old, and someone's very happy, they're giving the gifts out there. It can be one time, or if they're really, really, really happy by the quality of the services you're providing, they might, end up giving forever. So that is what is the responsibility of historical places. They need to ensure they provide such quality services, and they hire such people, either volunteer or non-volunteer, which help them to, you know help convert the customer into a donor, or customer to a volunteer. More than that, a donor, because donor is going to give you money or some valuables which can help your charity to run in the long term, and you can keep maintaining the sites forever. So that's one thing, because your purpose was charitable purpose and to run for the long term. So that's there. Next is donors give monies. Okay, that's done. Members can pay an annual fee, of for or a one-off fee for life membership, which gives them certain privileges depending on what the charity does. The most important privileges which membership gives them are fee admission or to sites operated by the charity, and voting at the charities, admission to slides operated by the charity, and voting. Oh, I'm reading the same line again. Sorry, guys. And voting at the charity's annual general meeting, including electing trustees. So, of course, I have heard of this in the previous questions also. They have members, right? Maybe sometimes some person voluntarily wants to come up and they want to pay for the membership within the charity. And yeah, so uh, mem it's not mainly about membership is not mainly about being an employee there or a volunteer there. It is about being accessing the services that charity is providing, maybe exclusive visit to the sites, only one employee, or sorry, what we said, guide tour, only one person will be there with you exclusively. He or she will give you the entire tour of the sites, and you will be able to access anytime, anywhere, and stuff like that. And maybe you will also get some other service uh, along with that. I mean, something like that. Be creative. Think as much as you can based on what you see in the normal environment. So the most important privilege is give them a free admission to sites operated by the charity. So they have paid a maybe a one-time fee, which is quite a lot, covering a lot, and their life fee membership sometimes, or some they are covered for a lot, and that's why they are able to get the free services now. So it's not like anything is for free, and they even get privileges for voting at AGMs, including electing trustees and all that. So it's a good thing, right? Because you are taking uh, public consideration into the picture while uh, hiring for, while looking out for trustees. So maybe it's not like it's within the company some election is going on. You don't know the trustee at all, and you're just looking out for them from the public, and you're electing them, electing a relevant person. So it's like general public is choosing for the general public. So that I think is a good point. But just for general information, I'm saying, then it comes for members do not own the charity and do not have any responsibility for its debts. Non-members pay, usually shareholders do that actually. Yeah. Now, members do not own the charity and do not have any responsibility. Okay. So, of course, like it's not a shareholder. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's how it works in a charity environment. Now, non-member visitors, non-member pay a admission fee to have access to the sites. And okay, admission fee, every time they have to access the site, they will get it. So that's also another source of revenue for the charity. And then guarantee a specified amount to help settle a charity's debts if the charity becomes an insol. Another point for non-member is that how to make him into a member, how to convert him into that. So that is one point. Guarantee a specific amount to help settle a charity's debts if the charity becomes insolvent but are generally not otherwise involved with the charity's activities. Okay. So I said guarantors, they are like, promoters, I would say. They help, they're responsible for basically nurturing the charity, helping it run for the long term. They are the ones who have taken the responsibility for all of its debts and all that. So, like equity shareholders types. So, even when they become insolvent, a specified amount will be paid by them to, settle the debts and all. So, guarantees are important. And what the question is, who will be the guarantors? Okay. why are they taking the responsibility? So that is also one question mark. Maybe more information will be given as to why and all. But yeah, the charity supervisory board, maybe it could be family members who have, decided to make up a charity and which covers about the sites. You don't know. So the CSB acts on behalf of Indonesia's government in overseeing charities activities and stories in the media. Yeah, of course, CSB is a public body. Stories in the media can illustrate the good work charities are doing. However, media coverage can also be a source of bad publicity. For example, stories about charities wasting money. Yes. So I'll show you some examples about the same. I just collected some articles about the same. UK halts funding over new sexual exploitation claims. So there's this thing. There was this Oxfam worker. Um, it had, there's this thing that happened related to one charity, Oxfam, and there was some sexual exploitation again. There were some sexual exploitation claims made by some staff, and since then it suffered a 3-year ban, and all thanks to the media and stuff like that. That's how it would the body who's responsible for this got to know about the same. All organizations bidding for UK aid must meet the standards of safeguarding, and these are the statements made by the officials, and clearly their reputation also went down, and as this happened, so this is more related to what employees, how they were handled, and yeah, even if this is only a temporary pause in funding, there's a pause in funding also, and after 3 years also it was again shunned by Whitehall. So you can see that it has clearly been, because of this bullying and all of that, and the way it has handled its employees, it has clearly not been able to, yeah, because of its bullying, because of its the way it has handled the employees, it has not been able to, get some good light. And since 3 years, it has been banned. And again, after 1 month of the opening, also it got banned again. See, so again, media is the one which helped here clearly. But yeah, of course, if they do mistakes, media has to report this, and therefore, media is also one of the important stakeholders here. Right? You should think about that. Then another one is this Golden London Garden Bridge project. So this was like how the trustees, how different people out there, uh, main authorities lost this project, how this was shunned because of the way they were utilizing the funds for themselves. It was like you can clearly see, and the charity paid its executives 1.7 million. I mean, clearly you should not be paying, and design of the bridge cost more than 9 billion. Around 43 came from the public's pocket. So it just shows how it was, misused, how the public money was misused, and how it is important to maintain accountability here. And they spent 161 pounds on a website on the gala for the abandoned project. So clearly, this is what they have shown in the accounts, but we don't know what was the actual story. Maybe they have, like, they have not either not being able to make a proper plan for how they are supposed to invest, which is why extra money has been invested, or they have shown it wrongly in the accounts, manipulated the accounts, and kept the money for themselves. It's not exactly clear, but that's how it is. So that's why it's not just about how much you're paying, how much is being we always think it's a manipulation of accounts, but sometimes it can also be the way you have structured your costs, the way you have planned. That's why planning is very important. So that's what I would like to discuss here, although this case might be because maybe the executive directors have charged a lot and stuff. There might be some manipulation, but this is how you should think. See, clearly they have mentioned, authorities are saying no charity needs to spend 161,000 on a website or 400,000 on a gala dinner and stuff. So you can see that this is clearly not used, the funds are not utilized for, the greenery around the bridge. It's for some other purposes. And what else can we say? The 270 and 2000 would be planned on the bridge. This was a proposed plan, but it doesn't seem like it has been fulfilled. So value for money has not been achieved. And for charities, it's more important, especially because you're using public funds and all that. So that's what I'm trying to say. See, the Dame Margaret Hodge concluded it would be better to ditch the project rather than risk the uncertain costs. Yeah, so then it was like one person who was responsible for this was maybe Mr. Johnson is someone who was so they were going to make no, the payout will now refund. Yeah. So now we can see that in July, the 60 million was 60 million of the public funding was made available by the government, Transport of London, Department of Transport, to the trust who have been responsible for this. But now only 5.5 million pounds was paid, and the remaining will be used for refunding the donors who had spent money on it. So this is how we this is how we should be aware of what happened in the past, even if it's an old case, but it can be applicable in our case. Maybe in the exhibit something like that is covered, some breach of such kind would be covered, and how these stakeholders, how see the strategy that was used by the government here. They are using the remaining money which they had made available to the trust to pay off the donors and something like that. So what you can also get influenced by the strategy, learn something from this, and stuff like that. Next, we can say that stakeholders who give money or non-financial resources, donors, volunteers, members, non-members, are sometimes known collectively as supporters of a charity. So this is the definition. Okay, you can, yeah. Now they are supporters. Okay, so you can use this keyword here that supporters, these are meant to be the supporters of the charity, but this is what they're doing in case if there's something wrong. Then heritage charities, income donations, charities obtain donations in various ways, contacting possible donors through the post by email or text message, or give visitors a chance to donate which they visit when they visit the historical sites. Charities encourage donors by advertising, including adverts on television or on social media, and most charities have websites which allow donors to donate on them, and charities retain contact details of previous owners and focus marketing campaigns on obtaining this. This is proper marketing here. Seriously, the way you go and advertise your product, similarly, they are going to do that for donors. So I think this is a good point, and you can also use this in PESTEL analysis or in the SWOT analysis. What are their strengths? How they are using it for marketing and all that. And take a note of it. Take a note of it. And this is the sources of income. Or one more thing that you can use is advantage, what are the resources, you can cover this in this thing. So it's not like a specific model is followed, but you can answer based on your thing, your what you feel is right. So next it is this is all about it. Uh, Now membership, annual or one-off life membership fees. Fees, okay, that's the another source of income. Admission fees for the non-members. Commercial activities, commercial income can come from various sources. Most sites have catering facilities, cafes or restaurants at the site. Smaller catering facilities may only provide snacks and drinks. Larger facilities offer full meals. Okay, charities may open some of their sites for hospitality, such as corporate or weddings. Wow. So these are like, seems like a big charity clearly, and they have enough space, or they have that asset out there, which can buildings out there which can help to do this. Now most sites also have shops. Smaller shops may just sell guidebooks or other items. These are charities. These are not specifically about this. Maybe it can be about this also, but this is helping you understand about the industry and what uh, historic places might be lacking or might not be lacking. So you need to understand based on what the industry information you are getting now and what exhibit information you will get later. Simple. Now, larger shops sell a greater variety of products, greeting cards, toys, household items, clothing. Some of the items may be branded with the charity's logo. Okay. So maybe branded with the charity's logo. Okay. We can consider some things here, like what is a logo like? Maybe that's going to be given. Maybe do they have products under their name? Do they have online services? Do they make deliveries? Do they have their logo? We can consider these strategies, right? Because in today's times, of course, having a logo, having your own brand is a thing, as even as a charity. What if you try that? What are you doing to create your brand? I mean, it's not a company, but at least to keep you running for the long term. I'm not saying you have to earn for profits. I'm saying so that people can get that trust in you, and more sources of income will be there. And even if, for example, if there's some trustee, or sorry, if there's a guarantor who's not able to cover you or he leaves, you have your own source of income. Charities have their own source of income through their brand. Think that way. Then small number of charities in Asia also operate shops which are not their sites but which are located in shopping areas. These shops sell the same items which are sold at the charity site. Some charities also sell their shops products online. Okay. See, shopping products online. Sell the same which are sold at the charity sites. So basically they're saying that even in shopping areas they have their shops. What if even they have? Or what if they should build? So see, this is competitive analysis. This is macro analysis. You can use this. You know, uh, that's all about it. And but although this is not like a primary activity, so remember that there's this primary versus supporting, and you need to understand the distinguish between them. You can do some scenario, identify the scope of the scenario, the key pestle factors. So you can use two models together. Scope of the scenario, identify different possible futures for each factor, build scenarios, eliminate highly improbable scenarios, flesh out plausible scenarios. So this is scenario based analysis, and it's again, you should not step by step, you should not follow, but this is the general order that you should consider. So that you can do, maybe if the charity our historic places is not following whatever our competitors are doing, they can consider, first of all, as many factors as possible from the pestle analysis, and then flesh out the factors based on whatever numeric analysis or data analysis they make, and whatever they feel is feasible at this point based on the financial statement given to us in the question. So you never know, these are topics that you should be aware of. Okay. And this is basically going to help you answer the question. It's going to bridge your answer, but that doesn't mean you have to follow the step by step process. Whatever you feel is logical according to the scenario given to you. That's it. So, charities incur the following main categories of expenditure: site operating costs. These are day to day running expenses, including the wages of employees who work at the sites, site maintenance and conservation costs. These are all the expenditures, our sources of income and our expenditure. So sites require varying amounts of maintenance depending on the age and conditions. Some maintenance takes place regularly throughout each year and may be undertaken by the charities employees or outside contractors. Sometimes major one-off projects are undertaken out by outside contractors. Charities also incur costs conserving historical objects at their sites. These objects often require complex treatment carried out with the specialists. Okay. So they incur costs conserving the historical places. As I already said, they have lot of, they want to preserve the 300-year old structure. They will definitely incur costs for the same. This is common sense. They have these operating costs, but at the same time these costs may also be very high sometimes if you do not plan properly, or if you really mandatorily have to incur it, depending on the condition of the site, right? So that's one thing. Then to pay out the specialist also, that's another cost. We need to find out quality as well as quantity, how much they demand, right? In that area, how much it is demanded, or is it contractual basis? Maybe some information will be given. We have to see that. Then administration costs. These include costs of fundraising and marketing the charities activities, also the cost of administering membership. They also include the salary cost of the charities executive management and other head office administration staff. Charities can suffer bad publicity and attract less support if administration costs are believed to look too high, to be too high. See what I just said. Administration costs. I showed you the new news of the Golden Bridge, right? The Green Bridge project right now, the London thing, right? This is what, if they get to know it's unnecessarily high costs, what is it? Where are they spending our money? There are no results either. Is there value for money? Not just the auditors, even they will ask these questions. The general public. It was supposed to be for us. Why is it not ready? If the park was supposed to be ready for us, or the green bridge was supposed to be ready for us, why is it not yet ready? Right? So this is what we need to consider. uh, in line with our costs. It's not just spending, spending, and spending. It's also considering that, okay, there is a watch over us. And again, consider all this while answering about its condition, its performance against its competitors. Maybe that's a comparative analysis, or while making some, PESTEL analysis, the E, economic, or while, considering what strategies it should be making for improvement, something like that. Then heritage charities challenges. Okay. So later they are even providing the background and governance and all. They're being more specific. I've already explained a lot, like, there's a lot of information that we can make up, be creative, as creative as possible. So heritage charities challenges, the principal challenges which charities face is the variety of factors which can cause deterioration in the sites and objects which they are trying to preserve. These include the passage of time and natural conditions such as high humidity, pollution, and violent weather conditions caused by climate change can accelerate deterioration. Wear and tear from having a large number of visitors can also affect sites. And so we can see, like any place, museums also we preserve. They don't let us touch anything in the museum sometimes if it's, like, preserved very properly. And now again, this is what it's saying, these are historic sites, weather conditions will definitely do this. Okay, so this is another threat, this is another weakness, right? And how is a firm handling it, how is a charity handling it? How are they handling the wear and tear? What are they doing for such scenarios? What are the competitors doing for such scenarios? So large charities are also dependent on recruiting sufficient volunteers to ensure there are enough staff at each site. Volunteers are unpaid, thus saving charity salary costs, but their hours and attendance may not be regular. They may decide to stop volunteering. I already covered this point. It's a risk, it's a threat. So again, how is it handling? Risk management is very important in this. Definitely. Heritage charities face the challenge that non-heritage charities are also seeking donations. Potential donors are likely to receive communications from many charities. Charities which are in the news in particular times may raise considerable sums of money, but this may mean that donors give less to the other charities which they normally support. This is, I am getting Porter's 5 force model clearly in this. I'm clearly getting how the competitors can enter the market and remove your place. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do controversial things to, be in the media, but clearly it means that this is a threat. This is the competitive advantage that they can take if they are continuously. That's why it's not just important to do the work. You have to do the work for sure. You have to be accountable to the public. You have to fulfill their objectives. But more importantly, you have to ensure you're also in good light in the media and the media is covering about you. You have done something so that media can cover about you. If you don't do anything, what will media cover? The wrong things, the controversial things, which will help, which will make your charity shut down. What else? That's what. So at present, there's a recession, and as a result, many charities have seen a fall in their donations. Pestle analysis, economic factor, risks, threats, another risk. We need to check their financials for sure. Something might be shown related to that. So how it is affecting the competitor, how it is affecting you, something will be there about this. Now, heritage charities key performance indicators, membership fees. Okay, these are performance indicators that they use, and this is overall industry sector, industry standard related. And let's see, membership fees, donations, site admission fees, income from commercial activities, income generated per visitor, site operating costs, site maintenance and conservation. Especially for historic places, it's very important to consider these costs specifically. I would say all costs are important in this. All costs are relevant to this one because it's having a large site. So in case if but although we are not sure if income from this shops, catering, all this is there for historic places or not, and income generated per visitor from shops, catering activities and all. So, but let's see, let's consider this also. We will bring this up in case if some information, definitely information will be given. Simply, they won't give the KPIs. Then non-financial indicators, number of members, donors, volunteers, visitors, number of education sites, training days, trainees employed. Array, training is very important because volunteers won't simply come up. If you want to give the quality services, if you want to convert a random member or anyone, member, non-member, to a donor, you have to give quality services. That's for sure. That's what is coming in my mind. And also maintenance of your sites, because if it's not maintained, nobody will come and visit it. That's for sure. So education visits to sites, even children, students, why would they bring there? Why would they bring a tons of students there? You can get an entire class of students there and earn money from there, right? So number of students that come there, that is also one very important factor. So feedback from members and visitors, feedback from employees and volunteers, percentage of annual members renewing. Yes, if they are renewing for their if they are shifting to lifetime, or if they are doing another year, however it is a plan for historic places. Then feedback from yeah, then resource consumption, percentage of energy obtained from renewable waste and recycling rates, emissions. Okay. So of course these are environmental factors, and you can consider this in the PESTEL environmental. So nowadays donors are becoming ethical. You need to understand this. Sustainable donors are there. They prefer that that kind of charity which sustainably produces in the environment. No, I would say, in case of, for example, if uh, there are no environmental repercussions, if in case if there's a site construction going on, something, some maintenance work is going on, it should not deteriorate the other environmental resources. Landfill should not be there. How are you managing the waste? Be very specific. How are you catering to the needs of the communities who are living in those areas? And all of this should be considered. So I'm just getting these points for now, but yes, this is how it is going to be. Historic Places operates in the heritage charity sector and was founded 120 years ago. It's a large charity which looks around 350 sites over 3 years old. We already know 3 years old. 350 sites, quite a lot. Okay, number of sites you're handling. Many of the sites are castles or museums. It does not look any sites which with religious connections. Okay, maybe some reasoning might be given for this. Why doesn't it do that? What if its competitors are doing that? Hmm? So HP is a, or maybe ethical reasons are also there. Maybe because uh, they won't be, they are not capable enough, or the skills are not enough, or they are not able to maintain uh, sites with religious connections, or they don't want to hurt the sentiments of the public. Anything can be possible. Just keep thinking. HP is a company limited by guarantee. HP senior management and most administration staff are based at head office in Odisha's capital city. Okay. Uh, this is where their head office is there. And what is Odisha's capital city? Maybe some more information will be given. HP's commercial activities are undertaken by subsidiary which HP wholly owns. Okay, but that doesn't make HP a company. HP is still a charity. And commercial activities, maybe I think it means shops and all, whatever selling they do, online selling and all, products and all, cafes and blah blah, whatever helps them to get that income and all, other source of income. Now, HP's mission is that it permanently projects and preserves sites and interested to it, and promotes interest in and access to them. The values which HP promotes are historical truth, access, protects and preserves the sites. So this is their word. This is their mission. We will use it in the future if they don't do that. This is the mission written on your website. Why are you not following it? The stakeholders can mention this. So you can mention this in stakeholder management points and accountability points. You can use these things. The values which HP promotes are historical truth, accessibility, enjoyment, involvement, transparency, inclusivity, diversity, social. Okay, again, you can use all these points very easily. Stewardship. Wow, they are covering between the executive members and the trustees, or to the public, how they are, the agents are handling the public, how they are accountable, how the stewardship is being handled, all of this, man. The HPS two-tier governance structure with a board of trustees and board of executive directors. The board of trustees is responsible for overall control and management of HP, and for developing the strategies in consultation with the board of executive directors. So two-tier is there. That means it is not like there are two boards. What we have also studied in our syllabus, there can be NEDs and there can be EDs, separate boards. Here it is like trustees and executive directors. So the board of trustees is responsible for overall control of HP and for developing the strategies in consultation with board of executive directors. So they work together, there is unity. But the supervisory board here could be the board of trustees. They are like, they are accountable to for the general public, for sure. So the board of trustees has audit, nomination, remuneration committees. Committees. Wow, you can recall all those points which you have learned in the audit. What is the important factor there? How are they nominating the people? And it is written already. They have 9 members for trustees. Okay. So the more the trustees, the more they have the expertise, the more skills they have relevant to the charity, the more better it is for them to be a trustee. They will know more about the industry and how it should work and what will be the long term strategies that will be affecting, that will be helpful for them. And in case if there's a recession, how they should cater to such situation, how what will they do. They should be quite experienced enough for that. And that's important. The chair is appointed by the trustees and does not have a fixed term of office. HPs do not vote on the appointment of the chair. And if five trustees are nominated by HP's nomination committee, they do not have fixed term also. Chair. Hmm. Members don't vote for that. Okay. The chair is appointed by the trustees, does not have a fixed term of office. Okay. Trustees are appointing him. Okay. That's how it's usually, NEDs are usually responsible for that in the general, like in a company. The nominated trustees, five trustees are nominated by HP's nomination committee. Their appointment is subject to a confirmation vote by HP's members. If they are confirmed in the office by the vote, they then serve for 3 years and then they can seek reappointment. Okay. So, what we should do for them to seek reappointment? Because the more yeah, by the vote. Yeah, the more they know about the charitable organization, the more they are, closely related. Because by 3 years, of course, they'll properly know about this working. So we should ensure that they retain with us. They are retained with us. They are there with us for the long term. So what strategies we should do for that purpose? This also we can focus. So please highlight this point also. What we should do to seek their reappointment. What we should do for their reappointment in this, right? That's such that they are willing to work with us for the long term. So I'm not saying go pay them, but I'm saying maybe, always, consider their decisions, give them the authority, fairly nominate them based on their skills, based on their experience. There should not be any this equality issues. Consider all this, man. Read the news, see what has happened in the past, see what will make them happy, possibly. Maybe something can be there for strategy, handling your human capital. You can write that. Then I'm not saying they are employees either. Okay. Now don't say human capital is not that. Human capital is for employee. I'm saying they are there responsible for your day-to-day organization operations also in some other way. So yes, please consider them in human capital. So, member elected trustees, these trustees are elected by HP's members at the charity's annual general meeting. Trustees elected by the members also serve for 3 years and can seek re election at the end of 3 years. Okay, they also same thing. They're elected by the members. So, as I already said, there was some point about members and them electing the trustees. So, that is happening here as well. So, yeah, okay, fine. But maybe we can expect that. Members know the trustees here, so maybe there can be some independence issues, something like that. We don't know, or it's highly unlikely. But what do we consider that scenario as well? Be skeptical. The board of trustees is supported by a board of executive directors, the executive board. The executive board directors are appointed by the board of trustees on the advice of the nomination committee. Okay, good. HP's members do not vote on the appoint. Even nomination committee should have some trustees actually. Yeah. Uh, so this information is not given who is constituting the nomination committee, right? See, HP's members are responsible. I missed that point. I'm sorry, guys. It's good because we are choosing them from the general public and their vote is being taken into consideration. But although we are not seeing who five trustees are nominated by HP, who is a part of the nomination committee, right? Who is there? So that information is not given to us. Maybe it will be given in the this thing. So, or you can even cover that point in the answer. Who is the nomination committee? This point is not being covered and stuff like that. I used to mention these things, you know. It showcases that you know about it, you know the information, and you're closely related to the question. The executive board is responsible for day-to-day management of the operations of HP. The executive board is headed by chief executive officer, generally how executive board is headed, and the remuneration of exercise board members, including the chief executive officer, is determined by the remuneration committee. Okay, that's how it is. Now we can see the executive board structure is given to us. So chief executive officer, operation finance director. Okay, so they are handling the normal operations, but here there are no names given. Usually we see that names are given. Okay, this person is this person is this qualification is this is the skills that he has got. That's why he's hired for this thing. But there's nothing given to us. Maybe in the exhibit we can definitely expect that. This is just for idea purpose and okay. Now, HP has a code of conduct which trustees, executive directors, other paid employees, and volunteers are expected to follow. The code includes core principles relating to professional behavior, commitment, adherence to decisions made by the boards, confidentiality, conflicts of interest, and bribery. Okay. The code of conduct might be given to us, and we can use the points from there in case if there's any threat or any risk, or if there's any breach made by these directors or made by the company policy, or something like that. We can use this code of conduct. Then HP acquires buildings and other sites and gives from previous owners by purchasing them using the HP surplus funds. Okay, and HP will, but the previous owners. Okay. Or by purchasing them using HP surplus funds, and HP will acquire sites which are of national importance and are under threat of destruction or deterioration over time. So that means clearly their administration costs and maintenance costs are going to be very high because they are taking or something of national importance. So definitely they're accountable to the public. It's national importance, patriotism, symboling that. So people will be more interested to visit there. So either revenue is quite good, probably, but there's this threats that follow up. I can give you uh, environmental threats here. I can give you this what we say maintenance cost threat maybe more than other competitors, or maybe their planning is not enough, or maybe their source of income is not enough. Anything is possible. Any number of threats which are relevant to the scenario, you can write it down. Then HP acquires buildings and they get this source. uh, Sometimes the previous owners of the buildings basically give the gifts. They get the source, well and good, they don't have to spend on purchasing it. uh, or if they have to spend also, surplus funds are there. So we can see this strategy is fine, well to do, but maybe if competitor strategies are also given, then we can consider that and see how better our strategy is. So that is one thing. For that purpose we can see the suitability, acceptability, feasibility studies. Like we can consider how suitable a competitor strategy is, or how suitable some strategy would be, and accept it, how much feasible that would be for us, and whether it is acceptable or not. I mean, you can really consider that. Then every HP site is open to members and other visitors, and admission charge is payable by non-members to access the sites. The amount charged varies between sites depending on what can be seen at the sites. How often sites are open also varies. Sites must sometimes be closed for a period of maintenance, and open times can also depend on their staffing levels. See, this is a risk. Staff, what if no staff is there? This is a very big risk for us, man. This is a very big threat. This can pose to be a very big threat. Then, yes, of course, this amount charged between various sites, that is good, because it is depending on how much we give some packages. Premium package will cover you doing the entire you visiting the entire site, or this basic package will only help you to cover this is a good one. Actually, this is how it should be. The HP aims to enhance experience of visitors to the sites by providing guides to give tours and answer questions about the sites on-site information, and exhibits exhibitions about aspects of the site's history. Okay, that is a good thing. That will help you to be in the media, help you to be relevant in this thing, in this charitable organization, and help the people also who will be coming there, because in case, or even the tourists who will be visiting and all that. So it's a good source of income, and it's a good strategy also. It also aims to stimulate interest by, for example, encouraging children to spot features at a site or objects kept there. Okay. uh, Now, HP's education objective is focused on hosting visits of groups of school children and explaining to them the significance of what they are visiting. Sites also offer, okay, another source of income and another stakeholder group that they had to manage. No, basically, my. Yes. Yeah. So No, no, no. Again. So it aims to stimulate interest by, for example, encouraging children to spot features at a site or objects kept there. So okay, well and good. So it's like playing games with them, and this is a very good strategy, I feel. Then HP's education objective is focused on hosting visits of groups of school children and explaining to them the significance of what they are visiting. Sites also offer special events, including performance about the site's history aimed at children and families. Okay, so this is another good strategy again. Special events, inculcating them to stay there, retaining them. Maybe these are all points that you can use about how it is using strategies to keep them, retain the members for the longer term. So that's one thing. And justify their services, value for money. Then every site has a shop. The size of the shop determines what is stocked there. Every site also has catering facilities where visitors can sit down, eat. Again, convenience is there. You can sit, eat, enjoy. You won't feel hungry. It's not just you visiting the site. There are other things to it. There are special events, there are games, there are exhibitions. There's so much to it. Museums type. Smaller sites only provide snacks and drinks. Larger sites offer full meals. Okay. HP's best known sites include Malloc, Dodge, and Store and Throworth. Okay, these are like their sites names and all that. So you can see maybe there's some information about certain site in the exhibit. You know, how one site is performing, how other site is performing, how many visits are in different sites, how many members have been converted, how many trustees are there. No, trustees are not site specific, but how are they handling, which site is most preferred and all that, which site is supposed to be shut down due to problems. You never know. Now details about key stakeholders of HP. Now this that was stakeholders about the whole industry. This is about HP specifically. So understand the difference. So what we say that details about stakeholders, members, 5 million members. Wow. HP offers annual memberships only. Benefits of membership include free admission to sites, regular newsletters, emails. Members have the right to attend HP's annual general meeting. Wow. This is how the industry works. So it is going according to the industry standard. They can vote on their appointment of trustees, receive HP's annual report and financial statements and approve the appointment of the auditors. They can also submit resolutions which are not binding on the trustees, but which the trustees must take into consideration. Okay. And HP has resolutions. For example, I mean, they can maybe by resolutions they might mean that they are suggesting certain things. So this is like voicing their opinion. So this is a good thing. You're considering their opinion. That is a good thing. That's a good point. Let's consider that as well. This is how you're treating the members, and how they are encouraged to stay with us for the long term. Convert to a lifetime membership fee and stay there for life, and help help the charity develop and stuff. Now, HP is around 4,000 full and part-time employees, including staff who work for the wholly owned commercial subsidiary. They work at HP's head office and sites. Some have worked for HP for a long time. Generally, HP pays average salaries for jobs across the charity sector, which are lower than what would be paid for equivalent jobs in a commercial organization. Okay. Many employees are prepared to accept lower salaries than they would obtain outside the charity sector because of their commitment to HPs. So it's about the commitment. I would suggest that. Definitely, if you don't want to be one side, I'm getting two sides actually to it. One side, I'm like, okay, the media is going to cover this and they're going to be like, okay, the employees are paid according to lesser than what would be paid commercially in a other company where, salaried employee would be paid. Okay, well and good, fine. Because it's a charity, you are only going to do it for the commitment. You are doing for a charitable cause. You should be paid less. You should expect that. But, and it is probably the whole industry is going to be like that. Right. They generally pay average salaries for jobs across the charity sector. Right. This is how it is working. But the other side, would they be encouraged to stay with us? Will they be like, okay, I want to be a part of this specific charity only? Or what if they do one thing, they will compare it with some other charity and they'll be like, okay, I'll go there because I'm paid there more. And that will become their charitable cause also as a result, money wise. So I'm getting these wrong points, I mean, these negative points, but maybe um, uh, you know, if they are being paid well and alongside they are also getting some other benefits, maybe, specifically if we say sometimes free tours for their family or some health related benefits for their family. I'm not expecting such high things from a charity, but we can suggest something like that in case if there is some problem with employee, or if there are equality laws implemented, if there's enough safety for them. all of these factors will be considered. So that's even if it is a charity, right? So you can add up with these points. You can say all of these points in case if there's a problem presented in the exhibit for this. Then HP has around 20,000 volunteers who play a very significant role in its operations. Predominantly, volunteers act as guides, work in catering facilities and shops, and help maintain sites. Okay, they have these many volunteers, but there's a risk that they can leave anytime. So, but point is that they are working for free, and there's a lot of help coming from all these volunteers across all the sites, across all the shops and all cafes and whatever. So that's a good point. Then choice of suppliers and the inventory policy of the catering facilities and shops is determined centrally by the HP's procurement function. Okay, who is leading the HP's procurement function, and why are they deciding it? Okay, I mean, why are they deciding? I understand, but what are their responsibilities? Maybe some light will be thrown or will not be thrown. We don't know. HP uses external connectors for regular site maintenance and major projects. Contractors for large single projects are employed on a one-off basis. So HP is informed. Okay, large single projects are employed. So one point I understood is that HP's procurement function, who is there, who is constituting that place, who are the employees, what skills do they have the relevant skills to do the supply chain management and all that? And secondly, who are these external contractors, on what basis are they chosen, do they have the relevant experience, these external contractors, or they are just, again, uh, I mean, of course, they'll have experience and all, but how good are they? What are their services like? Reference checks has been made or not? Are they doing it for the competitors as well? What are the competitors using for contractors? And what company they are using? They're employed on a one-off basis. Okay. For large single projects, we can maybe it's a good thing if you're doing on a one-off basis, but we need to seriously analyze if it's feasible in terms of costs and in terms of legalities and all as well. So much to it, man. Seriously, you can assume so much about it, but our point is to understand the question thoroughly and assume as many possible scenarios as possible so that in the exam day we have a strategy all right, all set as soon as we read the exhibit, right? That's the point. So HP's information systems are adequate for its administration needs and are fully compliant with data protection regulations. Okay, our cyber security risks, our regulations, our legalities in the PESTEL analysis, and HP's computerized information systems cover major operational functions. Okay, computerized major operational. Why only major? Why not the entire operational ones? What about the other ones? How are we handling it? Um, or do they not require at all? Are they very small? What is it like? And in the future, what if they turn out to be big? They won't have a system? Or what is the strategy like? Maybe some light will be thrown for that. Then HP has a website. And for this, I can even think about IT systems, POPIT model, people, organization, process, information technology. Porter's POPIT model, you can cover about that uh, using these points jotted down here. Then HP has a website which publicizes its activities and allows donations to be made and members to join. There are separate web pages for each HP's websites, including details about the site, such as its history, maps. Okay, definitely it should have a website in place. How are you encouraging the donations? They nowadays they what if they just want to pay directly through bank transfers? They want ease for payment. They won't simply go uh, give checks out there and all. It's all online systems. Have you digitalized completely? In the website, do they have the way to pay through bank transfer or to the debit card, or what is it like? Another key factor to consider in the strategy, or in the uh, how are in the digital part, in the payment part. Then HP's main maintains a risk register as their office covering significant charity violations, threats to reputation. Oh god, I can again this is very easily jotted down for us, the risks and all. And what does it mean? SWOT analysis, special analysis, all these basic analysis. Again, right. So we can say threats to reputation. And secondly, about IT systems, again, another threat is that what if some members' information gets leaked, or donors' information gets leaked, or their credit card details get leaked, or something. I mean, it's not like the website is saving down their key sensitive details, but nothing should get, exposed, right? Maybe the donor doesn't want his name to come out. So sensitive details out there. So how are you handling that? So either it is not handling, or it is already handling but not in an efficient manner or as per the industry standard or as per how this thing works in today's times. The GDPR, read all the relevant laws from there, uh, and you'll understand how to handle such things and what all legalities they can potentially follow. So that's why I'm saying awareness. Now, HP maintains a risk register. Okay, threats to reputation. Bad publicity about HP can lead to members not being willing to renew their membership, donors not being willing to donate, and volunteers no longer being willing to work. It's fine. ये वापस टीप लेगा यार, उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? Now, threats to reputation. So, bad publicity about HP can lead to members not being willing to renew their membership, donors not being willing to donate, and volunteers no longer being willing to work for HP. Uh, okay. Yeah, this is just making our points easier, basically. So, handle all the relevant resources, relevant stakeholders correctly. Your communities, your environmental groups, your government authorities, your own internal stakeholders. How do we manage all of that? You can use a Mendelow's matrix. It's pretty easy. Map them off based on whatever your stakeholders are like, and clearly from the risks you can understand from these. Besides these, if there are any stakeholders, you can understand that. And then I mean, even members are, and members are written here, yeah, already. So even the non-members also we can consider, because that should, they also contribute. They can also, how they will be, how they perceive is what is very important, because they won't consider the membership consideration until and unless they don't, they're not very happy about the charities working. So that's one thing. Then other threats to income: the recession of Indonesia may limit donors' willingness to donate to HP. Visiting HP sites is one of very leisure activities available to individuals and factor families, and this is it. Yeah, so I had assumed this as soon as I read this recession point. Why would they? What if they don't have a disposable income because of the recession to be able to, come and visit these sites? Or even if they do, it's just a one-off expense, one-off membership that they, not one membership. I'm sorry, one-off uh, ticket fee that they will be ready to pay. They won't go beyond that. So, in such scenarios, you really need to have strong strategies in place to attract them, to really make them feel like they are part of family. Maybe you can jot down events where they are emotionally connected to the history, maybe their forefathers or something. Make them emotionally connect there, and help them to design a strategy for the same. Help them to be retained for the long term by designing such strategies. So there's so much that you can consider. Then loss of employees and volunteers: if employees and volunteers leave and cannot be easily replaced, then the experience offered to visitors to sites may be affected, and the sites may be open less frequently, and some conservation work requires specialist staff, and loss of their staff members may affect HP's ability to carry out work on sites or historic objects. So yeah, so this definitely, if you lose staff members, if you, that's what I was saying, even volunteers, if you lose them, who will be there? The site working is depending on staff availability. If you lose them, that's it, your staff, your everything is gone. I don't even need to explain this point, but you can consider this. They have basically helped you to do this analysis and jot down a strategy. Then insufficient financial resources: if income is less than expected or needed, HP may not have the financial resources to carry out all necessary conservation work. And okay, that's a risk, especially in the recession times. Then poor performance by suppliers and contractors: poor quality goods provided by suppliers can reduce visitor satisfaction. Poor performance by contractors can mean that HP does not contain value for money and may also jeopardize the conservation of buildings. Exactly. So uh, that means that, and plus if it comes out in the media that this contractor was hired, or even contractor reputation also matters. So they really need to do a proper research before hiring a contractor, right? uh, yeah. Then these can affect people, and plus reputation, their reputation. What if contractor is not following ethical practices? We have seen in many cases in SBL, if the contractor or the supplier is not following ethical practices, they won't be considered over the public will be angry with the charity organization also, which is using that supplier. So that has to be properly researched into in today's times, and nobody will be ready to invest in you. That's also there. So then these can affect people working at visiting sites. Sites have potential hazards, including slippery surfaces and steep staircases. Extreme weather may also create hazardous conditions at some sites. So health and safety regulations might be there surrounding this, and extreme weather conditions. So hazardous conditions, already I said regulations, fine. But besides that, safety. Will the stakeholders need to feel safe when they enter a site? How are you ensuring that? You know, they have slippery surfaces, they have steep staircases, okay. Uh, but these are hazards. Everywhere there are hazards. But how are you managing? Are you putting the boards? Are you putting those boards? Are you putting those, warning signs everywhere? Is the volunteer member trained enough to handle such scenarios in case if there's something wrong? Is there first aid department there? Something like that. Think about it. Think out of the box. Then poor weather can, or what are competitors doing? Again, you can check that out. Or if there can be a case maybe related to some staff member itself falling down and then filing a case against charity, or some member falling down, filing a case, or some regular person entering the site who has not applied for membership, something like that. Then poor weather can affect visitor numbers at sites where visitors are wholly or mostly outdoors. Extreme weather such as excessive heat, winds, or yeah, climatic factors not under our control. However, if there is, are you making predictions? What weather forecasts are you relying on? Are they correct? Are you watching the news? Are you vigilant enough? All of this has to be checked through. This is very important. Then HP's computer systems faces the risk of disruption, jeopardizing its administration and the services which it provides. Leakage of data held about members and donors could result in legal action, loss of reputation, unwillingness of members and donors to provide their personal details. Of course, sorry about that. I started coloring. So why would they pay through your website, or even, be there if they feel that, okay, this is not safe to give our details here? I mean, that's it. They'll get an opportunity that, okay, this is not a safe place to go and invest in. I'm not going to do that. My details will come out. So, this is a very important point, guys, in today's times, especially where hackers are increasing in number and they might target such websites only. So, this is very important that we consider this thing. And also, one thing about charities, as I already covered previously, is that internal controls are very less because of this non-employee related structure, and the department not being there a sufficient, maybe, a separate we can't expect a separate IT department and all in charities and all. Or it is, if this charity can does have one, we don't know. I saw there's an IT director, if I remember. So I think there can be a department. So clearly it needs to establish some internal controls. So some segregation of duties, whatever we have learned in the audit for internal controls, segregation of duties, some locker rooms, and these things around the computers, password protected. uh, Only the authorities know about it, not even the trustees know about this, and stuff like that. So very, actually, trustees are authorities, sorry. Not everybody knows about it. No, of course, the lower level employees won't know, something like that. So they have to jot down some internal controls, and they can even spot the point that, okay, in the charity industry, we have auditors. So auditors can spot this out, right? And even they can have an internal audit department in place which can help jot these IT controls and make suggestions and all that. Next, threats to reputation, bad publicity about. I'm sorry, I reached the wrong part. Yeah, website extract. The extract covers key insights about what HV takes. Okay, we want to inspire everyone who visits us in imaginative, authentic ways. We aim to stimulate our visitors' minds and provoke their emotions, right? So you are emotionally connecting with them. right? That is what is going to make them be a part of the family. But again, you can use whatever these website extract, these mission values, whatever these points they have given, you can use them in the answer if there is any threat or any breach. So, and access to our country's historic enriches everyone's lives. We want our visitors to have the privilege of standing on the spot where history happened and to live our country's story. Is it really accessible? Is everyone really being able to, afford the fee in especially these times, inflationary times, and visit the sites easily? We need to consider this point as well. And if it is not, it's contradictory, then that means they are presenting wrong information on the website, opposite to what they are actually supposed to. We want everyone who visits us to love the time they spend with us. We engage our visitors by bringing the fascinating true stories of our sites to life. We use creativity and imagination to delight and entertain our visitors. Okay. How are they doing that? Are they actually very creative? We have to be skeptical about whatever points are mentioned here. Millions share our belief that history is important for everyone, and we want to provide opportunity for them to engage with us. We rely on the generous support of members, donors, and visitors, and we want to build a relationship with them. Okay, so this is what everyone says, but do they actually implement or not? This is their like an objective type, but okay, fine, this can attract them to the website. But I would say website should also consist of, what all sites they cover, what strategies they are doing for ensuring safety, pictures, proper pictures, correctly, accurately reflecting what we are expecting from the site, different packages that they are offering, and stuff like that. We protect sites and objects which urgently need our care. Looking after them for the benefit of present and future generations is central to everything which we can do. We aim to preserve and develop our collections, increasing our understanding through expert research. Okay, so they want to what? Still, this is their activity section. What they are doing. So, are they actually? They are actually what expert research are they doing? You know, uh, who are these experts? How are they being paid? And after the expert research, are they actually making some protection measures or uh, dealing with it qualitatively? For example, demolishing, if you're demolishing a site, it's very hazardous. Or for hazardous situations, what are you doing? There's so many question marks that I've already got after reading the scenario. So you can check out, you can draft these scenarios in your mind and develop strategies for each thing. We protect the future of our sites by being part of the worldwide fight against climate changes. We limit our impact by using greener energy, minimizing waste, and increasing our use of recycled sources. And our performance is measured against increasingly rigorous sustainability targets. So, of course, these graphs are given to us. Are they? What are the targets that they are using, and how what the industry is using? We can compare these two things, and we can see how adequate their targets are, or or if it's just some randomly created figure or basis for it, or use some metrics here and there. SBL is not a metric based exam. If you don't use metrics also, it's okay. But clearly, sorry guys, clearly I would say that metrics is you can use it. Why not? If they have given to you something, you can use it. They have given some graphs here, although I feel that they are not that relevant, because this one split of income in 20x3, I would rather be more happy if this would have been showed in more years, prior years, and we could have made some comparative analysis and all. But okay, this will at least help us to understand what is the current status of the services that they're providing. So income is highest from memberships, followed by donations and all that. And then split of operating expenses, site operating, site maintenance, administration. Okay, so clearly site operating is the highest. I would say maintenance and conservation can also be very high. It's almost getting to that level. And if we see graphical analysis, okay, they have given it here. Uh, it's steeping down in 20x3, meaning maybe because of inflationary factors, or because of we can say, why are they, yeah, inflationary factors can be one of the reason, or maybe some strategy problem. Maybe competitors are winning over. We don't know. That will only be clear through the exhibit. While operating expenses are following a high trend, and they are increasing at a rate higher than the income, clearly. So this can be detrimental in the long term. We need to relate these points, and we need to mention about the same. And I think they will provide income statements and all for this. Like, if I show you how an income statement looks for a charity, let's see. So see, this is an example. Like, this will just be your donations, grants, and whatever is your income sources. For them, it is membership, shops, cafes, donations, admissions, and all that. Their income will be given, and they will jot it down maybe for a comparative basis 2022, 23 total, and expenses 2023, 2022, and whatever expenses they have, general operation and administrative and all that. And yeah, that's all about it, guys. So I think we are done with the pre-scene material. Yeah, sorry. We're done with the pre-scene material. Okay, there's one more non-qualitative one. Number of visits, members and non-members million. And these are in millions, okay? This will also in million. So number of visits has been increasing, positive trend. Number of members has been increasing. Uh, oh, but we can see a slight, it's not in a increasing rate. It is slightly steeper. So can we just assume that they are not, maybe people are not ready to go for a lifetime fee, they don't have enough disposable income, or they don't feel like it's going to produce value for money in the long term, so they're like, rather we would invest in something better. Why is it so? What are the strategies? We really need to fill up these question marks after reading the exhibits in the exam. But yes, guys, so clearly speaking, this is all about it. And to jot down all the points, to conclude this, I would say utilize, if I'm not saying strictly utilize these models, but you can use all these Porter 5 forts model. I clearly jot down wherever it can be used. You can use Porter's diamond model, factor conditions, demand conditions. See, you can see, you can use these. You can use this model as well. I feel whatever is, for your answer, whatever will be key to answering your question, helping you to answering your question. So uh, whether there are any supporting industries, what if that has been mentioned in the question, any related industries, if the charities can help each other out, they advertise each other out, and they learn from each other. Or sometimes in case of a climatic, or if there's a hazard, uh, like, how can they serve each other? There's so much that we don't know. We can just assume that this can be there, especially if they are quite close by. What can they do? Whether they can send up their volunteers over. I'm overthinking here clearly, but you can use these scenarios, because the more you do that, the more SBL examiner will be like, oh damn, this is a crazy point, I never thought of it. You have to, like, oversmart him basically. Then demand conditions, like we can say, uh, whether it has really strong demand. What is the demand like? Let's understand that. Factor conditions, enough capital is there or not. We already have a lot of information about that. Their sources of income, capital, contractors, blah blah. And firm strategy structure. How is their structure like against the competition, within the location, within the country? And this is Porter's diamond model. You can use Porter's model. You can use scenario planning. You can use so much. You can use like SWOT analysis, where you discuss about, you know, I have jotted down some points like strengths. For strengths, you can use uh, whatever it has done in the charity sector compared to the industry, and it is covering variety of cities across the country. Variety of sites are there, large, small, including commercial activities division also there, and people are working there as well. So, and that to volunteers. So that's a good point. That's a strength. You can describe that. You can also talk about decreasing donation revenues, and whatever costs are rising. Like, as I said, 300 years old means extra operational costs, extra administration costs, extra maintenance costs. Sorry, and that's a threat. And any digital, stuff out there. handling their data, sensitive data properly. That's also that's not a threat. I mean, that's a weakness if they don't have enough uh, strategies to maintain to handle this area, and if their internal controls are not enough. Then opportunity is better website, better donation, opportunities can be if they have better website functionality, better advertising campaigns, better marketing campaigns, better strategies to maintain their safety, and even of the employees, of the external stakeholders, of whoever is visiting them. And if they create new sites or new products, you never know. Or they end up creating some museums, so extra source of income. There's a lot of opportunities for them if they are really that brand, uh, you know they have that brand name and all that, they establish that. Then of course, loss of volunteers and staff. They need to have some permanent staff, I would say, because clearly if they don't have staff, they are not able to showcase a site. So they need to have some staff, and that is a threat for them. And some recession is also a threat, of course. Their margins seem to be poor. Clearly income expenditure seems to be exceeding income. Members are not converting for the lifetime thing. Then we don't know about their cash flow management. If the cash flows are not right, if contractors are not right, contractors are not giving quality services, nobody will even visit their sites because they won't feel safe with the building out there. So many points based on the exhibit. So guys, that's all about it. It was nice speaking about this pre-seed material. And I'm not saying that rely on my points. I am saying look through all the videos, and I'm generally I'm shooting this like within an hour and a half. Like I specifically out of my office timings, I came out here and I wanted to speak to you guys and help you based on my experiences, personal experiences, based on whatever I read through research and all that. I feel these points are very much enough, I would say. But besides this, you can watch some more videos to cater to your exam, to cater to writing your answers, and very easily, because maybe some other tutors have some other better points or more points, you can get more broader idea, because this is massive. You can get so many scenarios which I have maybe missed out, you don't know. So the more my strategy, if in your place, would be to collect more information from all the possible tutors, and go ahead with the exam, if I would have the pre-seed material and all. But anyways, this was my strategy. I used to just read through all the uh, you know different exam approaches, whether it's an ACC exam tutor, whether it's a private tutor, whether it's someone who is randomly posting on YouTube answering the question. Even if it was a 3-hour video, I used to sit and watch the entire thing because I was that afraid about the exam. But there's nothing to be afraid about this if you have logic, if you are very good with your concepts, and you know how to logically answer, and if you are aware of the news and how your pre-seen material industry, how what all news is there in the industry covered in the pre-seen material. So that's all about it, guys. Hope it is helpful, and please like, share, subscribe. It really encourages me. I just want to be there for you guys, and I want you to, that's only possible if you support me. So thank you, guys. Have a good day. Signing off. Bye.